Today we are in Visakhapatnam to see a U.S. Navy ship in active operation. We are ultimately trained to conduct air, land, and sea operation. For an opportunity like this, I'm very happy to be here and experience your culture. We are going to be able to wear some of their equipment as well. I am more excited in holding some of their machine guns. I think this has to be the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. This is one of the most underrated cities of India, with a coastline of approximately 50 kilometers and so many beaches. Like, imagine being in one of the biggest port cities, but still having access to so much nature, with the hills right next to you because we are nestled amongst the Eastern Ghats right now. And if you haven't guessed yet, I am talking about the city of destiny, Visakhapatnam. But, the purpose of this trip isn't just about making a video about Visakhapatnam or taking you around. I've actually been invited by the U.S. Embassy to witness the interiors of 2 Navy ships of the U.S. Navy. And also, since I come from a defense background, my father was in the Army when I was growing up, it really feels like such an honor and privilege to see a part of defense that is from the U.S. side. So right now, there are 2 U.S. Navy ships docked here in Vizag for a tri-service exercise between the Indian Armed Forces and the U.S. Navy, called Tiger Triumph. This exercise is designed to prepare the forces to cooperate effectively in humanitarian and disaster relief situations. And you might be wondering, how does it benefit the countries that you're engaging in? Well, that's what we're going to find out as we dive deeper into Tiger Triumph operations. Some of the exercises that we're going to be operating here for Tiger Triumph is going to be demonstrations of amphibious operations, mainly with a focus towards humanitarian aid and disaster relief. So, the idea there is, if there were some form of disaster in a local region, say like what has happened recently, unfortunately, in Myanmar, then your country and our country can come together. We can respond in a combined joint way to be able to use our forces interoperably, and with communications that we've already established, our Navy and our Marine Corps, that's going to be your forces as well, being able to support and relieve suffering from those who might be in need at the time of crisis. This is the first ship that we're going inside, and it's the USS Comstock. Get ready to go aboard your first ever U.S. Navy ship, where the men and women of USS Comstock and the Marine Corps' Light Armored Reconnaissance Battalion will show you all of their cool stuff. Thank you, yes of course, thank you, yes of course. So, we are now inside the ship, and I can't help but wonder how it must feel to sail on these waters, or, just being out on the open sea, traveling all the way from the United States to India. The USS Comstock is, well, a very large ship that actually acts like a launch pad for land missions. It's mainly used to carry the Marines, their vehicles and equipment to wherever they're needed, like during war or for search and rescue operations. It's what's called a dock landing ship, and it uses other landing crafts to transport people and gear from the ship to the beach. Oh, and they've also got ribs and cranes on board. On board, we have the 60-ton crane and the 20-ton crane, so basically, we can pick up anything we need from the pier up to the boat deck, and then from the boat deck down to the well deck. It's pretty impressive. The first place that we arrived at was the boat deck. It's actually the spot from where the ship's lifeboats are launched. And then, we also went to the flight deck, where we had the chance to meet the Marines and the commander of the ship. I am the commander of the landing force, so for us as a Marine Corps, we are ultimately trained to conduct air, land, and sea operations. For this exercise, we're focused on that humanitarian assistance, right? It's always so important for us to have a security force and to have a humanitarian assistance force. It's so cool what they do, and of course, when you're in a place like this, oh wow, you are allowed to be very excited. And we are interviewing a lot of people from the U.S. Navy today. So with us, we have the commanding officer of this vessel, Commander Byron Starks. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for having me. A very silly question to begin with. What was the route that you took to come here? The route that we took to come here, so our most recent port prior to that was Singapore. So we came through the Straits of Malacca and up and approached from the south and came right in here through your wonderful harbor. And what the roughest part of the entire route? Commander Byron Stark said, I would say the Straits of Malacca just due to the high amounts of traffic. Now we're professional mariners, so we know how to handle that, but you certainly have to be focused and well aware of your surroundings. And is this your first time in Visakhapatnam, or have you been here before? It's my first time and I'm actually deeply enjoying it. I feel very privileged to be a part of this exercise. I don't know that I would have been able to see this part of the world if it weren't for the Navy, and if it weren't for an opportunity like this, and I'm very happy to be here and experience your culture. Thank you so much for saying that, but what are some of the exercises that you're engaging in right now? Is it just land operations or is it also water operations? Actually, it's multiple. So land, sea, and air. Where we're standing right now is on top of our flight deck. From here we can launch our high-low craft. We can use them as a lily pad, as we call it, where some helicraft from other vessels might be able to land on board us. And that's other nations' vessels too, to include your own. We can refuel them and we can go ashore with different packages of aid and relief. This ship, well, about 3/4 of the length of the ship, is a well deck which allows us to store a tremendous amount of goods and aid. Think food, think supplies, think medical equipment, all of which we can then send ashore on some of our shore craft. Now as for the crew, what is the distribution? There are about 350 sailors on board and about 450 Marines on board. That's the capacity for us overall. Out of those, about 40 are officers right now, and about 25 are our chief petty officers on the Navy side. So, the difference is made up with our junior sailors, who do the vast majority of the work on board this ship. It varies somewhere between 1/10 and 1/17, or maybe 1/16 of the crew being female on board, but at the end of the day, what matters most is that everybody on board is capable, ready, has the merit and the strength to be able to execute that mission, which, honestly, we have that in spades. We're good. So what is this vessel? Well, this is an MH-60R, the MH-60 Romeo. It's a Navy helicopter. We actually have two types. We have the Romeo and the Sierra. We're now on the well deck. This is such a big ship, and to be able to experience this is pretty amazing. So, the well deck is like a giant hollow space in the back of the ship that can fill up with water. In layman's terms, it's kind of like a garage, but for boats. Basically, this big mama ship carries baby boats in her belly, launches them into action, and brings them back in when needed, so it's crucial for amphibious operations, helping military forces go from sea to land and vice versa. So now we're in this area where the first light armored reconnaissance is located, and yeah, it's pretty impressive to see all the equipment and machine guns they have set up here. So that's a great question. We operate in pairs, so we have one gunner and one assistant gunner. The role of the gunner is that he operates the weapon system, and he's actually going to take that shot at whatever target we may have. And the assistant gunner, he loads the weapon system, he checks the back blast to make sure no one's standing behind it, but he also provides security, so if any threats come up, he's ready. So this first one, like you guys just saw, is the Carl G demonstration. This is kind of our long-range anti-armor explosive weapon. Over here, this is going to be the 240 Bravo. This is a pretty typical security weapon, but this is our typical American medium machine gun. The tan one right there, that is going to be the M27. Blonde gentleman holding, that's going to be our M4. Okay, so this, it's kind of heavy. I can't believe these are actual magazines and this thing is heavy. Yes, thank you. Are these magazines? Yes. Oh, here, check that out on there. Okay, perfect. You're ready to fight. Wow. I think this has to be the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. This has to be the weirdest thing I've ever done. I'm wearing a literal summer dress in the nice summer day in Visakhapatnam, and I'm trying on gear and I'm inside a US Navy ship. The whole defense DNA that I have from my father, it's just coming back to me. I just feel really alive right now. So now we're at the medical spaces. This is where medical treatments usually take place on the ship, so it's kind of like the hospital of this area. Okay, so interesting to just be inside. Imagine spending a month and a half just being in this ship. And then we made our way to the command deck, or the pilot house. I'm the navigator. I'm Lieutenant Jennings. My job is to safely navigate the ship, make sure we don't hit anything that we shouldn't, and that we can safely... Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for having us. It's been a privilege. Thank you. So now we are going to go inside the destroyer. This is the second ship that we're touring today, but this one is going to be super interesting because it's a different capability altogether from the USS Comstock. So now we're going to go on to your second ever US Navy ship, which is an Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer. How is it different from the one that we just visited? This is a little bit smaller and it's a little bit more agile. This ship is a standalone unit. There are no embarked Marine units on board. It is a guided missile ship, so it is good for the defense of a carrier strike group. It's good for independent missions. It's deployable worldwide. Okay, I'm ready for my second ship. Great, let's go. This is the destroyer, and its main job is to protect larger ships from threats in the air, on the surface and underwater, including enemy submarines, missiles, and aircraft. These destroyers can detect and respond to multiple threats at once. And the first person we met is the captain of this ship, Jack Sparrow. Yeah, exactly, Captain Jack is what they call me. Yes, so yeah, okay, that's the nickname. So right now we're with Commanding Officer Jack Caesar aboard the USS Ralph Johnson, sir. It's a pleasure to see you. How would you say that this is shaping up right now? It's been amazing since we arrived here. We've had a bunch of sporting events. Just today we wrapped up baseball. Tomorrow we have T20 cricket that we're really excited to participate in. No holds barred with the interaction and the jointness between the US Navy and the Indian Navy. Ralph Johnson will be responsible for an air defense exercise. We're going to do a gun X, so we're going to shoot all of our weapon systems with the INS Mumbai, so really excited for that. And then we're going to also do some helicopter exchanges where all the different helicopters are going to land on board Ralph Johnson as well as Mumbai and Jalashwa as well. Amazing. So right now we have BM2 White with us, and what I noticed is that she already has some henna on her hands. So she got Mendi from probably Central Mall, but it's definitely beautiful. I love the design, it's very intricate, and it's going really well with your tattoo as well. Oh, thank you, it looks beautiful. I got some Mendi a few days back for my cousin's wedding, so we have like a nice moment. Yes, we do. Mine is fading already though, and I'm glad you're already immersing in the Visakhapatnam experience. Oh yes, I am. I also am loving it here right now. The food is amazing, and people are really nice and sweet. The first place that we went on board is the front deck. That's a nice deck where we also saw some of the ship's armament. And met someone of Indian origin who is now a Navy personnel. My name is O.S. Patel. Yes, I've been in the U.S. for 11 years now, so coming back to India has been really awesome. Do you share some of your cultural nuances with the crew on board? I gave them a really quick brief of what to look for, try and go to Lakshmi Narasimha Temple, and that's one of the things that I really wanted to do. It gives me an opportunity to share the love and culture of India and show them what we stand for. So, what is it like working with the Indian Navy, and what has your experience been like so far? The experiences I've had interacting with the Shakti, the Mumbai, and the Jalashwa CEOs has been bar none. They're much more senior than me, so anytime I get an opportunity to speak with them and listen to their experiences, it's only going to help me further in, my goals to advance in the US Navy. The ships look immaculate. We've had the Mumbai sailor on board, and the feedback that I've gotten from my crew has been nothing but stellar. Then we saw a little more of the ship, like the officers' mess area on board, and after that, the CEO's cabin. These are called challenge coins. So, each commanding officer usually has a challenge coin specifically designed for the ship or for their personality. And so, when we meet each other, we exchange coins. So, most recently from the Jalashwa Mumbai, this is from the Jalashwa. So we are currently at the pilot house with MC-1 Hannah Pride. What is it like sailing and being at the ocean for such a long duration? I love it so much. I always say part of the reason I joined the Navy is, have you seen the movie Moana? Yes, okay, so you know the line in the song, like where the line sky, where the line meets the sea, like that? When I see that, it makes me so happy. So every day I go topside with my little coffee and just stand on the decks and look out at the sea. and it makes me super happy. So, and it just occurred to me that you're able to see that almost every day. Yeah, that's beautiful. So we are at the mess deck, and this is the mess line, and this is where the crew basically comes for eating. I was wondering the whole time, what do people eat, and it looks like really delicious food, actually. So this was one amazing experience, and to be able to witness what it's like to be on a ship, what life is like, it was, in particular, really nice. We saw a lot of different areas in the ship, and it was pretty neat. The crew was lovely, and honestly, the work that they're doing is just fabulous. It must be such an intense experience, but at the same time, it's the crew and the people that keep it lighthearted as well. At the end of the day, I'm glad that I had a small peek into what life is like on board. So we saw the ships today, but right now we are experiencing some nightlife in Vizag by coming to a Mori mixer stall. This is famous. It's like jalmuri, like belpuri type, but this is a specialty from here. I've heard that it's on the spicier side, but I'll cry or do whatever, but I'll definitely eat spicy. So I am trying tomato slice for the very, very first time. Ginger and the raw mango especially add a very different kind of twang and flavor to the street food item. Quite delicious. You know, in our whole India, street food has so many of nearly the same ingredients, like there's tomato chaat in Varanasi and there's tomato slice here in Vizag. It's honestly one of the representations of how we are so similar yet so different in different parts of India. So we are now at a restaurant called Vasanapalli Dinner. And this has been appreciated even by the Vice President Sri Venkaiah Naidu. And well, the one thing that I really want to try over here is the millet idli. And they come in a very unique kind of a shape, which is a little different from your regular idli. Oh wow, look at how ingenious this idli is, because it is made inside of this leaf. This leaf is also so fragrant, so soft. I am completely ready to dig in right now. Oh my goodness, delicious. I can eat these 4 idlis even after eating that tomato slice. Yummy. So, because we're right on the road from this restaurant, you can also see the Victory at Sea Memorial, which was constructed after the 1971 Indo-Pak War. It's dedicated to the Indian Navy. Every week there's also a light and sound show here, which is quite a spectacle. But honestly, it's such a good place to pay your homage to the Indian Navy. So we are currently with Sudhir Sir, who's the maker of Vasanapalli. How did you get the idea to make such good food? Actually, I got the inspiration from the tribal farmers. I used to be with tribal farmers for 1 year. My education and all those things happened only in Guntur, not in Vizag. So, in Guntur there are no hills or anything like that. But I was completing my MA in agriculture economics, and then I wanted to go to some rural area to learn about sustainable agriculture and natural farming. Every day I wanted to go with the farmers, climb the hill, and also do some farming. I didn't know that climbing would be such a big task for me. That's the main reason every day they cooked foxtail, little millet, and barnyard millet only for me. It is after eating for 10 days I recognized that I got some strength. So you could see the difference in your body almost instantaneously in just 10 days. Yes, that's the main reason I want to start this idea. In other markets, the ragi idli means, it's a little bit darker. In our ragi idli you can see this dark color because we use only tur dal and ragi suji. We make ragi or finger millet into suji. And our idlis they taste like and also have a texture like the normal idli. We don't add any soda, preservation, nothing. Our customers are also very, very, very supportive. They are giving more hands to raise us up to here because in 2018, I started with a small rickshaw around 50,000 budget. Now, I'm paying every month, 85,000 for this, 85,000 rent every month. That's the support from our farmers and also from our customers too. So inspiring, your story I'm sure is inspiring a lot of young people already. But I hope people who also watch this, they get more inspired by you. And the food is, very good. Very much a must try. Good morning from another day in Visakhapatnam. Today I've got a half day before I fly out, so we decided to come to the viewpoint here, and as soon as you go down from the viewpoint where I love Vizag is written, There's this really nice and serene beach with a lot of rocks also in between. So today I wore a suit because this morning we're also going to Sri Varaha Lakshmi Narasimha Swami Temple. Another thing about this beach is that there's also this ship nearby which has run aground. It's originally a 3,000-ton Bangladeshi vessel which is called the MVB Mark, but you can actually spot this from the beach only, or you can go near the shipwreck as well. And finally, to end our trip to Visakhapatnam, we finally came here for the darshan. Especially on the weekends, there's lots of rush over here, but there is also an express ticket which costs around 300 rupees which you can take. But weekends especially keep more time on your hands because it can take upwards of 1 hour to do your darshan inside. There are no cameras and phones allowed, everything has to be deposited in a locker. So, I can't take you inside for good reasons, obviously, but I hope you enjoyed this video. And the entire experience of Visakhapatnam for me was extremely nice. And the cherry on top of the cake was the visit to the US Navy ships. I am so grateful for this opportunity and thank you so much for joining in. Subscribe to our channel, like this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.